Welcome, everybody. After our 2 weeks off, we are back with DES iRacing with a thriller of a weekend. It is final races before the cutoff line, starting with Gen4 here today. My name is Edwin. I'll be joined in the booth by Mr. Jonathan Medlin and our great producer, Damon O'Brien. He's taking care of the controls. Medlin, how you doing today?
Man, I cannot complain. Back after surgery. Good to be back in the booth. Good to be back having involvement with DES and looking forward to some great racing tonight.
Yes, sir. Like we said, it is the cutoff race for their playoffs. And as of right now, we got a huge shakeup. A lot of those guys who were right on the bubbles are no shows tonight because obviously, other things come up and people have other responsibilities, and sometimes those things interfere. But the ones who did show up, like Crosby, who is 42 points out, if he can go out and win this race, he could potentially be in the playoffs.
Absolutely. And I hate to see that we have folks that didn't make it, but, you know, we gotta keep our focus on the ones that are here and the ones that are looking to make it above the cut line.
It's going to be an interesting run. Go ahead and hit us with that starting lineup.
All right, in first place, starting on the pole, we got Judson Curtis in the 35 machine, and to his outside, Albert Williams for row one. Row two, we got Lucas Alves in the 201 car, and Gary Bergeron in fourth with the number one car. Then we got Todd Perront in the 69 machine, Jamie Howell in the 98 machine for row three. Starting in seventh is John Crosby, the one we were just talking about. And then in eighth is Jonathan Geist for row four. Row five is Danny K. Passmore in the 65 machine and Jeff Dinda in the 84 machine. Row six, we've got the 56 machine of Mark Holloway and the 23 machine of Thomas Long. Sean Dion in the number three machine and 13th with Brandon Hinton to his outside in the number five machine for row seven. And Kenneth Passmore in the 72 machine, rounding it out in row eight.
He's actually going to have Craig Knoll starting with him. Craig Knoll unfortunately wrecked every time he went to qualify. And then Donald Bell will also be in the back. He was not able to complete his lap. And then Christian Clark, the man in the hot seat, is starting dead last. And he will be our guy that we have to keep an eye on because he is the one under the most threat to make it to the playoffs.
Absolutely. He's going to have to methodically, as we have seen him do some through this season, make his way to the front of the pack to save himself from going too far back and being put out of making it into the playoffs.
They also have a car that started on the grid, but for some reason dropped out of it. I guess he might have had a connection issue or something. He will be starting from the pits. That is Alvarez, who was in that P3 position. All right, what are you looking for here, Medlin? What are you excited to see?
I'm excited to see what John Crosby can do. I mean, he has been a dominant factor all season long, and he knows how to race these long tracks. He knows how to put down long runs. So, if it goes green for a while, it's going to put him in a good place to be able to move to the front of the race, to the front of the pack rather. And as you mentioned before, if he can win this race, he potentially could get into the playoffs. And I think that is something that Crosby is definitely looking at.
Well, by Christian Clark showing up, that makes the task a little harder. But Christian Clark showing up, he almost certainly will get in himself now, as he will have an additive of points. But it's really a battle because one person has forfeited their points and will not compete in the championship. So regardless, there is a spot below Christian Clark up for the grabs, and Crosby is the guy out to grab it right now.
Absolutely.
As we are taking the green flag now Judson Curtis, Albert Williams leading them down side by side. Look at Todd Perront. He is sucked underneath that 35, and Albert Williams gets the better start.
Yeah, that was a close call right there for Todd Perront. He got right up underneath Judson, and I mean, he got sucked in hard.
And look at that, Todd Perront going to the top side. Continue what you were saying, sorry.
Oh, that's fine. I was just going to say, Crosby started off in the 7th spot, and look, he's already moved his way up 3 spots into the 4th spot. Now looking to make a pass on Judson Curtis, who started in 2nd place to, get even closer there.
Yeah, he's working that bottom line right now. Stuck on the outside of Todd, the inside of Todd Perront, but he's got Judson Curtis right in front of him. Albert Williams is checking out on the field. He is trying to put himself in a very good position. Albert Williams himself is not in contention for the playoffs right now. He's just out there for the win.
Albert Williams is actually sitting just ahead of John Crosby in the points.
Oh, my bad. I overlooked that. But in the back, we've got right now Christian Clark. He is currently making passes, running that high side. He's currently in the P14 position, working his way up. Huge bottleneck in front of him. These guys are looking to go 4 wide already.
Yeah, this is the excitement of being the last race of the season for these Gen 4 guys, which, is... Oh, and we've got a wreck right there, 23. What?
Flip. Whoa, Christian Clark involved, Craig Knoll involved. We got to get a replay of that. Looks like Jamie Howell got tight, drifted up into the 23, had his nose shoved under the 23, and got hit by Christian Clark from the back, and it just sent him over.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a gnarly looking flip. Only in iRacing will you ever see a NASCAR flip like that.
Yeah, in the real world, you'd never see a car flipping like that off of that kind of incident. But oh my gosh, that's going to throw a wrench in the plans right there. Christian Clark might have to take it down pit road, get some damage repaired, and he's got to get back at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And same thing for Thomas Long. He might have to get some damage repaired as well.
Craig Knoll with an entire wheel off right now. He's hitting pit road. With that, that's how we see those playoff points implications. Thomas Long is the guy right in front of Christian Clark too. So we're going to see some interesting things. And we're going to...
All right, so we're going to hit a playoff commercial break real quick. And And we are back with more DES action. About to go green, but I want to thank Jeff Dinda for making that great playoff commercial, as this is the last week before the playoffs that start next weekend. So we're about to go green here when we come back around to the start finish line. As you can see, the pace car has got the lights off. Edwin, you asked me, and I'm going to ask you, what are you looking for? What do you think's going to be the shakeup here after that nice little shakeup with the wreck?
Well, to be as honest as possible, I'm going to be looking for a lot of battling the car. Whoever can manage this car the best. This track is extremely bumpy. This car is tight on entry, tight through the center, but then snappy loose on exit of any of the corner. The apron is like ice. So it's whoever can manage this car the best to get them to the playoffs. And, you know, as a person who's in the legacy trucks, which will be competing tomorrow, I'm thankfully locked in now. But last season, I was that guy on the cut line. So the stress is there. You know, Christian Clark, he's been through this before. He's calm, cool, collect. Albert Williams, first time in this league, on the cut line, fighting for it. Crosby, he's normally locked in. Now he's in a new, unique position of being on the cut line. So it's really managing the car, as Crosby did pit, so did Judson Curtis, but he's got to manage that car because now he's going to be in dirty air bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I want to throw something out there about Crosby. At the beginning of the season, Crosby was one of those ones that did not like the Gen 4s, never really raced them much, and we have seen him progress very diligently through the season and get better, and I think he has more control over the car now than he did at the beginning of the season, which is really going to help him tonight as we are in that playoff points race.
And we are back green. Albert Williams with a great jump. He's going to lead him off of the field. Gary Bergeron, he's going to try and follow suit, but he's got Todd Perrott to battle with. And these guys in the back fanning out again. They're getting spaced out. Christian Clark way up to the high side. John Crosby, he's on the bottom, fighting Brandon Hinton. Oh, we got contact. Donald Bell and the 56 of Mark Hollowell, they got into each other a little bit, and it's cost them some momentum. Look at these cars coming after them.
Absolutely, it cost them momentum, but good job to them. Kudos to them for maintaining control of those cars and continuing to keep the race green.
That's what these guys are going to want. They're going to want more green flag runs because it's going to allow them to spread out. It's going to allow them to really get with the car and focus on what they're doing. It's a lot harder to manage this vehicle in traffic versus being by yourself.
The one thing about these long tracks is, you know, there are moments in the straights where you can catch a good drift or a good draft rather, not drift, but a good draft. And that can help you pick up some momentum on the person in front of you.
Yeah, but it's going to be killer on the tires when you're stuck side by side, as right behind Geist, who's in the 5th position. Those guys are just right on top of each other with really nowhere to go. And they're just there. Look at them 3 wide in front of Geist right now, or at least trying to be. You've got Passmore, Todd Perrott, and Bergeron. They're just battling it out.
Yeah, absolutely they are. And, you know, just seeing the 65 machine coming up, trying to make a run to pass Todd Perrott there.
Now, Todd Perrott is a very meticulous driver. He's not going to just give up a position that he knows he needs to fight for. Right now, he has clearly made the decision, battling the 1 cars, not the move. Oh, 32 into the wall. He's scrubbing along the wall. Keeps it out of the rest of the field, gets down. He's behind Crosby now. That's a lot of track position lost.
Absolutely, because he was running up there in the 5th, and that dropped him all the way back down to well, I've done lost his name on here, all the way down to 11th.
Yeah, that's a long ways to fall. He's got to bounce back from that. That's going to definitely hurt him. But as we see, he's also one of those guys trying to battle his way into the playoffs, or at least maintain his spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got the points list up real quick. I'm going to run through that. So right now, with the vacated spot. That's going to drop or push Brandon Hinton into first, Gary Bergeron in second, Todd Perront into third, Jeff Dinda into fifth. Mark Holloway is in sixth in the point standings. Max Dinda in seventh. Geist is in eighth. Ninth is Thomas Long and Christian Clark bringing up the end. So with that shift up, everybody moves up one. So now you've got Austin Knight that is right there on the tail end of the point standings before the cut line. So the cut line is Matthew Tennant, Ryan Godfrey, Albert Williams, and John Crosby.
Thing is, though, is Austin Knight is not in attendance today, and so he's kind of just hoping and praying these guys don't have real good runs. You know, Christian Clark is suffering right now, but as long as he gets some kind of points, he should stay in the playoffs. So that's what he's hoping on right now.
And also not in attendance is Matthew Tennant or Ryan Godfrey.
Yeah, and those guys needed to be here. They did if they wanted to keep their playoff hopes alive. But without being here, they're pretty much factored out of the equation. As Crosby is now no longer heading in the right direction, he is kind of stagnant in that P10 position.
Yeah, holding that P10 position, but then the two cars right in front of him, Sean Dion and then the 35 of Judson Curtis, kind of got into each other there for a second, but kept it together. And but it looked like Judson was going to try to take the high line on Sean Dion, and Sean Dion just shut it off.
Yeah, Sean Dion he is normally towards the middle line, upwards on the track, so that's kind of normal for him. But you got to kind of anticipate that kind of stuff, as he's got a great run on him. But with that 5 car down low, but now 5 cars out of the way, he's poking his nose down low. Let's see if he can make the pass now.
Yeah, you know, I think Brandon Hinton making that move that he made, he knew that Judson had the faster car. He knew that Judson was trying to make that pass on Dion, and he gave him the room to make that pass. You know, Brandon Hinton has a very unique style of racing. He will stay out of the way, and then when the moment is right, he makes his strike.
He's our resident bottom feeder. He stays on the bottom, as he stayed on the bottom there, but Crosby got underneath him, so he kind of just let Crosby have the spot, moved back to the bottom, going back to saving his tires, trying to extend his runs as long as possible.
Absolutely, and it's nice to see Crosby back moving in the right direction now as he's moved back up to 7th place.
I think he just needed a second to figure it out and understand, hey, I can't be heating my tires up like that. Let me be more methodical with it.
Yeah, and we have seen that John Crosby knows how to be methodical. But most of these guys do. Most of these guys that are out here tonight, these are the ones that know that in order to keep their playoff spot or in order to move into a playoff spot, they had to be here tonight and they had to race hard.
Position, but you're exactly right. They know exactly what's required of them in this situation. Best believe Crosby knows for a fact what's required for him is potentially winning this race. So he needs to make sure he understands traffic. He needs to understand how to pass. He needs to understand how to set fast laps. He has to know the full picture, and I think that's why he went to the back, is to truly start understanding the full picture of what he's presented. Gary has not let the leader of Albert Williams get far away from him. He is maintaining. Well, as he gets into the wall just then, that's going to probably cost him, but he was under a second off the leader the entire time.
Yeah, Gary Bergeron's another one that has shown both in Gen 4 and in the Legacy trucks that he can definitely run these tracks, and he can hold a fast line, and he can also maneuver traffic very well. Our top 5 currently looking like Albert Williams in first, Gary Bergeron in second, Todd Perront in third, Passmore in fourth, and Judson Curtis in fifth.
just to bring up again, Christian Clark is on the back straightaway, entering turn 3, now into turn 4, while the race leader, Album, he's now on the front straightaway. Albert Williams is on exit of turn 2, so Christian Clark is a full 2 turns and a straightaway behind.
Yeah, in the 98 machine, from what I just saw, is 14 laps down at the moment. Jamie Howell, 14 laps down.
We got a group of 5 cars really battling hard. Right there, starting at Mark Holloway, down to Lucas Alvarez. Those 5 are fighting. Jonathan Geist going on a pass of Sean Dion, trying to crack back into the top 10. But Donald Bell is not letting Mark Holloway get away from him.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting battle there, as we see Jonathan Geist has cracked his way back into the top 10, getting past Sean Dion. So now he's going to try to make a move up and catch up with Bell and Holloway.
Another battle to keep your eye on is Crosby versus Judson. Crosby is not letting Judson get away from him. He has stayed within at least half a second of him the entire run, and he is trying his hardest to stay up with that car. But, you know, with that, you always have the potential of hurting your tires. As Todd Ferrant makes a pass for P2, I just went back up to that, and him and Gary are battling with Passmore right there as well. So P2 just heated up.
Yeah, really. I mean, if you think about it, with the 3 of them being right there, it's P2 and 3.
Oh, yeah, they're fighting hard for it now as Todd Perrant gets the spot, gets a push from Gary right there on the front straightaway, but it looks like Todd's going to hold him off and take that position. Now he needs to set his sights on that 2-second lead Albert Williams has now generated.
You know, with Gary Bergeron being an independent, he could work with the Hinton Motorsports driver of Todd Perrant to try to run down Williams.
Running in a line helped them out a lot more than anything. Remember, Gary is already good on the points. So is Todd Perrant. Both of them are fully aware of that. So they are just trying to keep it clean, gather some more points, maybe try and make a battle for regular season champion. But as of right now, they've gotta pay attention to what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, going through the points standings, or the standings a while ago, you know, Albert Williams has 229 points. John Crosby has 227 points. If Albert Williams wins this, it very well, just like if John Crosby were to win, it very well could push him up into that final spot. Especially with the fact that you have Austin Knight, Matthew Tennant, and Ryan Godfrey all not in attendance. That would definitely boost him up there into that 10th spot.
Essentially, the battle is for that final spot, as Passmore's coming under threat by Judson Curtis, but the battle is definitely for that final spot. Christian Clark, by being in attendance, will keep himself locked in that. So it's a tough fight.
It is a fight, you know, and Christian Clark being here, like you said, he's got a 75% probability of making it in just by being here. If he can make it 3rd through 6th in the standings tonight, that gives him 100% lock. So that really does leave just that one spot open, provided Thomas Long, Jonathan Geist don't, you know, have any kind of wrecks. Another thing, Max Dinda not in attendance tonight. 20th through 23rd is 100% lock, 99% probability, but how bad is it going to hurt him not being here tonight? Does that open it up that you could possibly have 2 spots come open, depending on how things shake up at the end?
Now that is a very good point, because Max Dinda has used his 2 drops. A 0-point day could actually kick him out. He was only 26 points above the cut line. So that's Crosby or Albert Williams, you know, they have to really work hard for this, but there is a chance that they could potentially get up there.
Geist has, since the last time we brought him up, moved up into ninth. And, you know, Crosby is still just trying to hang right there with Passmore.
Yeah, looks like the loser out of those exchanges is Mark Holloway. Oh, Craig Knoll gets loose right behind him, really putting down the throttle, but he is going to try and go for the pass on Mark Holloway and put himself in the 11th position and try and get up there to the top 10.
Mark Holloway is another one of those drivers that is, you know, really, he's really patient, and, you know, he does his best to just run his line, not worry about what everybody else is doing. And he's another one that could make a run towards the front of the pack at some point tonight. But Craig Knoll making that pass, moving his way into 11th.
You know, we got a lot of interesting fights here, and as actually one we missed, John Crosby has lost position to Brandon Hinton. Brandon Hinton was able to get around John Crosby. So Crosby is now down to the P7 position, Hinton up to the P6 position, setting his sights on Danny Passmore, as Judson Curtis has made 2 passes, and he has made his way up to P3 and now trying to fight for P2 right now.
Yeah, that P2 battle is going to be a hot topic all night. And yeah, I'll tell you something. He's sitting right on the back bumper of Todd Perrott. He's letting Perrott know he's there, and he's going to slip low to the inside, and he's going to try to make the pass on Todd Perrott.
One thing we missed, Christian Clark did make his way down pit road. He did it about a lap ago, but now he is behind Albert Williams, as we are now in the green flag pit stop. 65 is making his way down pit road. Let's see who will be our next takers, as Todd Perrott scrubs the wall a little bit up there from that battle for P2, as Judson Curtis is going to take it over.
Yeah, Judson took it over, and I mean, he shot, of course, when Todd hit the wall, it gave Judson plenty of momentum to shoot way up in front of Todd.
We got a couple guys on pit road. It looks like the one car of Gary has made his way down pit road. We also have the 65, another car in front of them was on pit road. Thomas Long is now on pit road. 32 pitting, 56 pitting, 13 pitting. It is time for green flag pit stops.
It is, and, you know, that's going to shake things up, you know, depending on how long Albert Williams decides to hang out on the track. You know, he doesn't want to overstay his welcome on the track and burn his tires up and then have to take a pit stop later on after everybody else has already pitted. He needs to be thinking about pitting pretty soon to not lose too much position when he does pit.
John Crosby is one of those cars also taking it down pit road. So we're going to keep an eye out, see if anybody else is going to hit pit road. If they do, that's going to change things up. But Albert Williams currently right now, 31 laps on this stuff, he is still out there.
And there's the call for Williams.
That leaves Judson Curtis out there, but Judson Curtis did pit before these guys on that first caution, so he's got a little bit longer he can do. But Todd Perrott, Brandon Hinton, they should be looking to pit here soon too, probably with this 18 machine.
Yeah, absolutely. And Todd Perrott's coming in right behind Albert, so.
Question is, when will Brandon Hinton come down? Is Judson Curtis going to take over the lead? Brandon Hinton, is he coming to pit road? We are about to see. I don't think so. he is not coming to pit road. Neither is. Oh no, Hinton is coming to pit road. He is in fact coming to pit road. The 207 as well or I can't remember what his number was, but Lucas, he also can go out a little bit longer, but he has not come down pit road either.
Yeah, 201 of Lucas Alves is, I think he pitted on that first caution, so he's like the others that pitted there. He's got a little bit of time.
And with with Judson taking over the lead, he has just lapped Albert Williams. So let's see how much of an advantage he could potentially have.
Yeah, an interesting note is everybody in the top 5 is safe from being a lap down, but from 6 down is at least 1 lap down.
Christian Clark is the first car to not be a lap down now, as he has come around and he has gotten his lap back. But the problem is he needs a caution to make this better for him, as we got another car coming in. The third place is 72, Kenneth Passmore. He's coming down. Judson Curtis is now hitting pit road. He is hitting pit road. So let's see where the shakeup goes. .201 takes over the race lead. He's got 31 laps. He's right at that line where everybody should be pitting. He should potentially come down this lap.
Yeah, and you can see as John Crosby comes past him with ease. You know, his tires are spent. He's gonna have to come down pit road soon. He's getting into the wall. Very hard to maintain control when those tires get worn down like that on a track like this.
He can't pit from the lane he's at. He's gonna have to stay out again, go another lap around. If he was intending on pitting, he needs to get lower on that track. As Jeff Denda is going to cycle through to the P2 position, he also still needs to pit. These two have been out the longest, now hitting 32 laps. .201 coming down pit road. Lucas has decided now's the time. Same with the 84. They're coming down pit road. Albert Williams will cycle back through into the race lead, as he is in that P3 position.
So Albert making the decision to come in when he didn't hurt him too bad, as he's now going to be able to cycle back in.
Just waiting on them to come by and cycle through the lead. They have not yet. They are currently coming through turn 4. Christian Clark goes back a lap down.
Albert Williams is in first again. Gary Bergeron holding second. Danny Passmore in third. Todd Perront in fourth. John Crosby in fifth. Judson Curtis currently in sixth. Brandon Hinton in seventh. Donald Bell in eighth. Jonathan Geist in ninth. And Sean Dion in 10th.
You know, even though Alvarez went that longer time out there, he has fallen all the way back to P12.
Right behind Mark Holloway. And Jeff Denda staying out as long as he did, and he's back in 14th.
You know, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't expect to see this long of a green flag run. I have to be honest with you. I thought we would see more cautions.
Yeah,
this is a very hard car to drive.
I'm with you. I was with you. I figured it'd be a lot more cautions than this. You're absolutely correct. This was my main car to drive. Going into the beginning of the season, I wanted to focus on the car rather than the truck, and I kind of mid-season wound up shifting paces. But this is a very difficult car to drive, and you nailed it with what you said earlier. It's very, very tight coming into the curve, mid-curve, but it gets very loose coming out of the curve. And if you give it just too much throttle, and motorcycles call it whiskey throttling, you are going to snap that rear end around. You're going to be facing the wall, and you're going to be heading straight down through traffic into the wall. So you have to be very careful of when you brake to get into the curve, when you throttle to get out of the curve, because if you hit it too early, it's over with.
Yeah, these cars. Oh, yeah, you have to really pay attention to what you're doing with this car. Unlike the truck is way more forgiving, but these guys are putting on a spectacular show. And even our producer said there wouldn't be a lot of cautions. I guess I was the Grinch of the race, as we would say during Christmas times, because I really expected more cautions and more incidents. But as of right now, it's smooth sailing. With If we were to finish this race right now at lap 42, Albert Williams would be your 10th place guy into the points.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Max Dinda not being here, how is that going to shake up for him? Is that going to be, with him being, essentially sitting in 6th place? Is it going to be a lock for him, or is it going to be enough that it would drop him out and move somebody up in? But I think a lot of that is going to depend on where John Crosby finishes the race.
This one is an interesting race. We've got a lot of interesting tracks coming up for our, championship, regular season champ races. Tomorrow, we're going to have the Legacy Trucks at Pocono. Another tricky track. Like, Auto Club's very tricky for these cars because it's so bouncy and all kinds of crazy. It's tricky. Then you're going to have the trucks at a tricky triangle. It's literally what it's called. And that's going to be their cutoff race. Then Legacy, I believe they're at Las Vegas, which at night is almost a super speedway, so that's a wrench thrown in their plans too. So it's going to be some exciting racing this weekend, and if these guys are setting the tempo right now, we might have surprise entries into the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Sunday night you got the next gens as well, and they're going to be Dover.
That's a real big toss-up. Dover's a wild track.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, there's a lot of tricky tracks to end the season on. But these guys have definitely put on a spectacle tonight and shown how clean racing looks.
Albert Williams catching another lap car. Ooh, and that lap car gets into the wall a bit. Now Albert Williams goes to his inside. He's going to make that pass safely on Tom Sloan.
I've noticed a theme tonight. Every time a car goes a lap down, they have to give the lap down scrub on the wall.
As he just did it again. You are right about that.
Who knew it was going to happen again? As I was saying it, I thought he was going to break the streak there, but guess not.
Oh, he gave that wall a nice little kiss as Passmore is now being hunted down by Hinton and Crosby. Hinton and Crosby are practically nose to tail right now, trying to chase down that 65.
Yeah, and I mean, Albert Williams is he's out in his own world right now. Over 4.5 seconds above, out in front of Gary Bergeron, and then of course you got about a second separation between the second and third, and you've got the fight starting kind of behind that.
It's almost like Passmore is not getting as good of an exit as the two cars behind him, and now he changes lanes, moves up higher. but that's just going to allow Hinton to get right underneath him and take that position.
Yeah, Hinton goes above him and then in front of him, and Crosby goes up and behind him, and now Crosby moving down to make the pass on the low side. Passmore is going the wrong way at the moment.
And Crosby unable to complete the pass in one corner like Hinton could. One thing we have to mention about these cars, if you get side by side with another car, whoever's in front of you drives away. So Crosby's got to make this pass soon, or he's going to be stuck where he's at, and Hinton's going to just move away. I mean, look at the gap Hinton has already put on those two just because they're side by side.
Yeah, and they almost got into each other right there as Crosby drifted up to the high side. He almost got right into the side of Passmore.
And it looks like now he's finally going to make that pass, but Hinton is now behind the lap traffic of Christian Clark. So he's got to do something to get around him, or it's going to bring Crosby right back up to him.
And that's what Crosby's hoping for, but Christian Clark's going to go high, let Hinton take the lower, faster line and get around.
That's what happens when you have two of the nicest guys right near each other. They're going to give each other that space. And then on top of that, you know Crosby is going to get the space from the 99 because that's his teammate.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, speaking of Christian Clark, he's a lap down right now. He's back a lap down. He's in 16th spot, and you know, how is that going to affect him? You know, how is that going to affect his standings in the points? Albert Williams just putting on a show, and now you got these three battling for second place, you know, almost side by side again. Well, actually, and one of those is lap traffic, the 23 of Thomas Long. Bergeron able to get around and make it into second. We've got a caution on the track, and everybody's checking up to let the pace car come out. I'm not sure where we had an incident at. Oh, Christian Clark and John Crosby involved. Bear with us just a moment. We're trying to get lined up and find out exactly what happened with this incident. Crosby had dipped low, making the pass on Christian Clark, came up, got in front of him, and it looks like Christian Clark just gets into the back of Crosby, and Crosby getting a little bit loose there at the beginning of that. And of course, the momentum from Christian Clark coming out of that turn, he gets into the rear end, and they both go down to the bottom of the track sideways. I want to see this hit that happens after Crosby gets back up on the track, when he just gets ramrodded. So he got back up on the track, hit that apron, and then boom, right there, 201. Lucas Alves just gets into him and, I mean, just demolishes both cars. unfortunate turn of events for Christian Clark, Lucas Alves, and John Crosby. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with you momentarily right before we go green.
Welcome back. As we're about to take the green, Albert Williams, Judson Curtis going to be on your front row. Gary and Todd next. Brandon Hinton is going to be in the P5 position. Albert Williams with an amazing jump. Judson Curtis is going to really have to fight to get back up there. He's got to put that car under some kind of threat, or Albert Williams is running away with this race. As they fan out right now, John Crosby all the way on the high side, going around one of the Passmores. He's looking to go after Mark Holloway now. And he gets that position. He's coming after Mark Holloway and Donald Bell. He really needs to get towards the front, and I think he knows that. We are less than 50 to go, 47 laps left in this race. He's got to put a move on. He's got to be towards the front. Donald Bell and all the... Oh, Sean Dion into the wall. Mark Holloway collected. Caution. What happened there? We got an apology, so we know it was an accident. And they were earlier in the corner, side by side, kind of. They get a little bit closer to side by side. Looks like Sean Young's riding that high line. Donald Bell starts drifting up, kind of notices a car there and just not really anywhere to go. The smallest bit of sheet metal between them, and it just hooked the three. Definitely unintentional.
No, absolutely unintentional, but unfortunate at the same point in time. Yeah, he got caught in that slipstream from the 3 car, and it pulled him up to the other side of him, and when it did, it just hooked Sean Dion right up into the wall and Mark Holloway.
Yeah, he was just ever so slightly at the corner of him, and it just happened. You know, he didn't want to do that, but it happened. As Crosby's hitting pit road now for some reason. But remember, this means Christian Clark gets his lap back, so now he's actually going to be in contention to do more now.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's another look at the wreck from earlier with the iRacing flip.
Here we have the Christian Clark and John Crosby incident. Just Crosby gets a little loose in front of his teammate, and that's just the effect because Christian had nowhere to go.
Yeah, that's 2 wrecks tonight that Christian has been involved in. So him getting back on the lead lap after 2 wrecks like that, that's a good thing for Christian.
Yeah, it's going to be huge for him. It's going to really help him out in his pursuit to stay, in contention for his playoff position.
And Christian's a very capable driver. I mean, he's won a race this season, and he is a very capable driver. He's very patient. He's very humble, very likable guy, and I'm glad to see him move into position to where he could hold on to his spot and not be dropped below the cut line, because I think he definitely deserves a shot in the playoffs here.
Oh yeah, if he qualifies here for these playoffs and then he races tomorrow, he will qualify for 2 separate playoffs. So he's got a lot on his plate.
Yeah, he really does.
As we're getting double file, Judson Curtis has to get a better jump on that 18. He cannot let him just jump out on him again.
That is very true. And the last time it was Judson Curtis and Todd Perront in the same lane, and Todd Perront got up underneath the back end of Judson Curtis, and it kind of hindered his start. So I'm sure Judson's probably saying to Todd Perront, hey, look, don't get up under me this time. Let me have my jump to try to take this number 1 spot from Williams.
Yeah, he definitely wants him to keep his nose off of him, because we have noticed with these Gen 4 cars, if your nose can touch their rear bumper, it's not. It's going under their rear bumper. So you have to be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. These Gen 4 cars have that little upslope on their backside, and the nose is slowed down just enough that it, like you say, goes right up underneath it. It's almost like it was made to fit like a glove.
Albert Williams preparing himself to get another start. Let's see what happens this time. Judson Curtis kind of lagging behind. Green comes out. Not a good jump again. Albert Williams is going to get the launch of the century. But Judson Curtis actually stayed a little closer this time.
Yeah, it wasn't the start that he hoped for. It wasn't the launch that he hoped for, but it was definitely much better than the previous ones, and able to kind of jump up on the backside of Albert Williams pretty quick and not let him get too far out, as we see Jonathan Geist shoot down to the bottom of the track there.
They are fighting hard out there. 1 car in the 69 side by side. You also got John Crosby trying to figure out his way through his field. Christian Clark now able to actually race. He is now trying to get up there to those guys and compete for that position as well.
Absolutely, and Brandon Hinton just got his sights set on Todd Perront.
I think something's up with Crosby. He is not going forward. He is going backwards still. He is all the way back to the 13th position, only in front of Jeff Binda and then lap down cars.
Yeah, if you think about it, that first wreck that he was involved in, or that wreck with Christian, rather, he probably had to use his fast repair, which takes that out of play. And then, for whatever reason, he had to go back down pit row after that. So, something's got to be going on with this car.
Oh, we got Todd Perront.
Todd Perront gets loose.
And Christian Clark involved as well.
Christian Clark has lost his bumper. That, it's just so unfortunate for Christian.
I don't think he's used his fast repair yet. A lot of times it's just mild front end damage, so he's probably hasn't used it yet. But let's see what happened here. Todd Braun gets loose. Air from the 13 helps him around, wiggles around, hits the wall. Christian Clark just genuinely nowhere to go. There was nothing he could do. He was destined to hit that car.
Yeah, Todd got loose. 13 gets up there and straightens him out and puts him in the wall. And yeah, like you say, Christian with absolutely nowhere to go, and just gets the broadside of the 69.
Let's see if Christian Clark has used his fast repair or not, because that's what's really going to determine the situation as he's on pit road now.
Well, the cautions didn't come out early. They waited till later.
Right in the middle of the race is when we're getting all our cautions, and it looks like Christian Clark has used his fast repair as he's back there getting the car worked on. And he is going to, unfortunately, if he does not go here soon, will go another lap down after he just got it back too.
Very unfortunate for Christian.
Cars hitting pit road now. Todd Perront coming down, of course. Crosby on pit road again.
Yeah, Crosby's got something going on with his car, and he's trying to get damage fixed every chance he gets. But it is about that time. I mean, it was, if you think about it, it was back at lap 30 between 30 and 35 when we had the green lap pit run, and here we are at lap 62. So yeah, these guys are definitely thinking, hey, when do I need to go in and pit now while we've got the yellow flag versus having to do it when we're under green.
It's not often you get presented with 3 chances to redo a restart. And Judson Curtis has now been presented with his 3rd chance to redo this restart against the 18.
Yep, he's definitely in it, but now this time he's not going to have the 69 of Todd Perront behind him.
Yeah, it's all on him now. He's got to figure this out, because if he does not, that 18 is going to keep launching out on them.
See, he's going to have the 5-car of Brandon Hinton back behind him. And something we alluded to before the race. I'm glad to see Brandon Hinton bringing back the blue and the blue and pink.
Yeah, those are his trademark colors. That's what he won his 2 next gen championships with. He's been those colors for a while, and now he changed it up to a bunch of other colors, different things. But it's nice to see him back in those original colors, out there participating in this race. He's locked into the playoffs. Can't wait to see what he brings for tomorrow, what he brings for Sunday. He always brings some beautiful cars.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember getting to call one of my first races with DES during the playoffs last season, and seeing the colors schemes that Hinton put together. I mean, he does some brilliant work.
Yeah, I remember when he was my teammate. That was a great time when he was racing under the TRN banner, but I'm very happy that he branched off and made Hinton Motorsports. He's got an amazing group of guys of Jeff Binda and then Dylan Hinton and Todd Perront. He's got an amazing group, and I think that has put him in a way better position. And we've seen kind of a much more aggressive but still very clean Brandon Hinton now, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
We're coming around to get that green flag. Judson Curtis, this is his 3rd shot, maybe his last shot. So he's really got to do what he can now.
pace car spit off. We're coming around into the Geico restart zone. And Albert with another beautiful launch. And I mean, just got out there. But Judson Curtis much smoother on that restart. And, now he's just got to try to get up there. But, I mean, Albert he's got something figured out on this track for sure.
Oh, yeah, this is like his bread and butter. Everybody's got their one track that they either feel invincible at or are completely invincible at. And I have to say for Albert Williams, it's this track. And Christian Clark has taken that car to the garage. He is out of this race.
I hate it for Christian. That's going to affect him sitting where he was at, that close to the cut line.
I don't think it'll take him out of the playoffs. I think he will stay in it. It's going to be very, very close.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if you think about it, with Max not being in attendance tonight, Austin, Matthew, and Ryan Godfrey not being in attendance tonight, I mean, there's only two guys to move up. The fact that Christian raced, and even though he had the unfortunate series of events that he had, could that put him above Max Denda and keep him in, drop Max out, and put Crosby and Albert both in? There's just a lot of questions.
Tight. That would be a very tight situation. So, as of right now, I could safely say, if we were to finish how we are, Albert Williams definitely in, Christian Clark still in, Max, I think he still would be in, and John Crosby would be the guy out.
Yeah, because Crosby's sitting in P14 right now. Crosby's got a lot of work to do to get up to the front of the pack. I mean, he really is going to have to finish at least top two.
And currently where he's sitting, that's going to be really hard to do with 35 laps to go. He has to pass practically the entire field.
Exactly.
Albert Williams enjoying his lead as the two yellow machines behind him get to battling again. We've got three yellow machines out there, and two of them are fighting towards the front. Heck, at one point, all three of them were fighting towards the front.
Yeah, absolutely. Gary Bergeron, Judson Curtis, and then I think it was the 65 of Passmore.
Yes, sir. Albert Williams with that Outlaw Motorsports team. Outlaw Elite Motorsports. He is setting the tempo here today. And if he makes it into the playoffs, that is an absolute threat to have in the playoffs right there.
We haven't mentioned this very much, but I really want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to Jeff Denda, not only for the great commercial that he had done for us that we saw earlier, but also for keeping track of the point standings. He has done a marvelous job this season,
all while keeping himself in contention for a playoff berth as well.
Yeah.
He's locked in. He's been locked in for a while in Legacy, so he was able to focus a little bit more here on the Gen 4. But in Legacy, he is sitting P2 in points with a race win. And, he's one of the most dominant forces over there right now. So it's pretty awesome to see what he's able to do and keep the focus he does.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we were sitting here talking about that. I want to break this down for just a second. Hinton Motorsports has their three primary drivers sitting in lock for the playoffs for Gen 4. Brandon Hinton, Todd Perrant, and Jeff Denda. And there's only one person separating Brandon and Todd, and that's Gary Bergeron.
I mean, we could take it a step further and talk more about Hinton Motorsports. Like you said, in Gen 4, they've got three. In Legacy, they've got two guys over there, Dylan Hinton and Jeff Denda themselves. They are both locked into the playoffs as well. And then you carry it even further. We go to next gen, and he's got four guys possibly able to stay within the playoffs. which is himself of Brandon Hinton, Dylan Hinton, Jeff Binda, and Todd Perron. That is a dominant team. Dominant team. And it seems like since teams were introduced here in DES, there's been a passing of the torch of teams every season. First season, it was Ratfink. They were the most dominant force. Second season, it was TRN. TRN was the dominant team. Now this season, we've got Hinton Motorsports, but you always have those other teams that are right there knocking on the door, such as Beer Run. They are constantly the guys playing spoiler and being there to battle against those powerhouse team of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and it's, you were saying Ratfink, they've got 2 drivers in with Mark Holloway and, I'm sorry, just 1 driver in, Mark Holloway. And then TRN has got Jonathan Geist that's in. Trying to look at this. Rubbin Racing's Max Tenda, and then Heiser Racing Thomas Long, which is Chuck Knowles' team that he started. And then Beer Run, Christian Clark, and then everybody else in Beer Run is, you know, on the bubble. And of course, 3 of them don't show up tonight. And then Outlaw Elite with a win tonight could will more than likely put Albert in.
Have definitely got spicy. It's tough out there.
But you know, I'm proud to see Brandon, you know, with his inaugural season of his team, Hinton Motorsports, doing the things that they've done. They've got a very good team. Brandon is a very smart driver, and he has done a lot to teach his son Dylan, and you know, also Jeff Denda, and then of course bringing in Todd Perron, who was already a, you know, very solid driver last season. You know, they've all been able to work together to get Jeff Denda up to where he's at. I mean, I remember at the beginning of the season, Jeff was like me. He was hanging out in the back of the pack, just like, all right, I'm just going to kind of see how this race goes. And now it's like, nah, I'm getting up there in the mix of it. And, you know, I've seen him come a long way. Todd Perron gets into the wall, gets a little sideways, slips down to the apron, back up onto the track, keeps it clean. But back to what I was saying, you know, Hinton Motorsports has just really come a long way this season, and they've been a very dominant factor. And we've got folks starting to come down into pit row. I did not catch what number that was, but it was one of the yellow machines. Producer tells us it was Judson Curtis dropping down into the pits. So Gary Bergeron's in second, and that's going to move Brandon Hinton up into third, with Donald Bell in fourth and Danny Passmore in sixth.
Yeah, him and Mark Holloway currently having a little spout for position right now, right behind Jonathan Geist.
And you know, Albert Williams is only about 2 seconds ahead of Gary Bergeron right now, and 6 seconds ahead of Geist, which is a lot closer in that front end of that race than it was moments ago when Albert Williams had about a 6-second lead over second.
And you know, Judson Curtis, one of the first people to hit pit road, so he's setting himself up. He knows there's almost a little over 20 laps to go, so he's setting himself up to make it to the finish, and exactly to the finish.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and who else is going to follow suit? You know, who's going to be the next one to take that opportunity?
everybody's going to be keeping their eye out for those first call-outs about pitting, as Gary's under threat from Todd Perrant. I mean, not Todd Perrant, Brandon Hinton. Brandon Hinton's trying to make his way forward. If Judson Curtis hadn't pitted, he'd be involved in this fight too.
Yeah, Judson Curtis taking the pit is what is what opened up Brandon Hinton into third, and you know, now he's in the position that he likes to be in. He's in third. He's in control for making the drop low and trying to make that pass on Gary Bergeron for that second place spot.
Now the hope is that Judson Curtis is out there setting some fast laps, because he's got a huge margin to overcome. As Albert Williams hits pit road earlier than expected, he is on pit road, so he's trying to plan the same thing: hit pit road and get those laps put down. One car also going to be pitting.
Yeah, you know, he takes the pit right at lap 80, so that's going to set him up with 20 laps to go when he comes back out.
The 1, the 5, and the 13 front runner guys are also going to hit pit road now. Judson Curtis, he's coming off exit of turn 4 as Albert Williams is leaving his pit stall. Albert Williams had that #1 pit stall, so it's going to be interesting. 32 is going to be pitting this time. Will Judson Curtis get to him and pass him right now? I don't think so. It's going to be close.
And 65, Danny Passmore calling out that he's coming into the pits now.
35 is a turn behind the 18. He needed to be closer to put himself in contention to win this race.
So once this pit cycle is over, we'll be able to see exactly where we sit on the shakeup for what could potentially be setting up the ending of the race.
Judson Curtis does make it past those two people who pitted after him, of Gary and Brandon Hinton. Geist is able to get up to the P7 position, I mean. So, but Todd Perrant has yet to pit. Todd Perrant's going to be cutting it very close, but there is a good chance that Todd Perrant, after his incident of spinning, can make it. Oh, he's in the pits. Never mind.
Geist has dropped all the way back.
Pitted? Sorry to cut you off, but you know who hasn't pitted?
Jeff Dinda.
Jeff Dinda and John Crosby. John Crosby, if he plays his cards right, it will be a massive stretch. But John Crosby could potentially make it to the end.
So our producer just let us know what he's showing on the tires for how many laps these guys have been out. Jeff Dinda and John Crosby each with 20 laps on their tires, 21 laps for Jeff Dinda, 20 laps for Crosby, and then Passmore and Thomas Long have been out for roughly around 32 laps.
Let's be honest though, those guys in the front, Crosby and Jeff, they are saving fuel. Crosby's shutting that car off in the corners. He is shutting that thing off. He is in fuel conservation mode. As of right now, he's sitting 9 seconds in front of Albert Williams, but he cannot let Albert get to him.
Yeah, absolutely not. You know, and this is the shakeup that Crosby was wanting. This is what Crosby has been aiming for, and He's gotten lucky that it's fallen in his lap the way that it has.
I tell you what they're really hoping for is a caution, because a caution keeps them where they're at, and everybody else probably won't pit, but they can, and they can pit for just fuel and tires, and they will have fresher stuff than everybody else on track, and are going to be able to really put the pedal down while everybody else has to be a little bit more careful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thomas Long is sitting 9.5 seconds in front of John Crosby, and I can almost guarantee Thomas Long is also saving on that machine.
Yeah, and I saw just a moment ago, Thomas Long got a little loose and he slapped into the side of the wall, but I mean, it doesn't seem that it has slowed him down really much of anything.
He's got to manage that machine, because if he can save enough, just enough, there is the chance that they can make it. It's a long stretch, but they can potentially do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at the shakeup that we got going right now. Thomas Long in first, John Crosby in second, Jeff Denda in third, Albert Williams in fourth. It's definitely shaken up quite a bit. And of course, there's the two yellow machines fighting each other again.
They seem to always find some way near each other. Those yellow cars seem to love battling each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, Todd Perront trying to get his way around the 13 car.
I don't think Thomas Long is saving enough, because as of right now, remember, John Crosby is shutting that car off in the corners trying to save fuel. But Thomas Long seems to pull away from him every now and then, but he just dropped a second on him right there. So he's trying to save, but might not be enough. Albert Williams gets past Jeff Denda.
Yeah, Albert Williams having the fresher tires. That was just kind of a matter of time before he got in front of Denda.
Yeah, the bigger gap is to Crosby. It's only 3 seconds now, but it was almost 10 seconds before. And even still, prior to that, you still got 8 seconds, 9 seconds. He's 12 seconds behind Thomas Long. And he's got, if he's 12 seconds behind Thomas Long with 12 laps remaining, that means he will be right at Thomas Long. If he gains a second a lap, he'll be right at Thomas Long as Thomas Long comes to the start finish line.
Yep. And this is still what Crosby wants. He wants a top 3 finish. But where he would really like to be is sitting up there where Thomas Long is at, so that Albert Williams is passing him, putting him in number 2.
This is a tense fuel mileage race. Thomas Long, I don't think he's ever won a race. He has come close plenty of times on super speedways, a few tracks here and there he has come close, but this is a prime opportunity for him right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see the 65 machine dipping low. Passmore is going to make the pass on.
Sorry for cutting you off, but the 23 has to hit pit road. I think he was out.
Yeah, it did. It was a matter of time. I mean, his car was getting real loose. So that puts John Crosby right where he wants to be, though, because now Crosby is holding in first place. And you're right, he's doing everything he can. When he comes into those curves, he's clutching, and he's shutting that car down so that it doesn't, burn any fuel through them turns. And he is one that is very good at it. But Albert Williams right now is only 1.5 seconds behind him and gaining.
Yeah, Albert Williams is getting closer and closer every lap.
Brandon Hinton and Judson Curtis slightly getting into each other, but what a effort by both drivers to maintain control of their vehicles as they get into each other. But Brandon Hinton just about had that pass on Judson.
That would have been the last thing anybody would have wanted, was a caution right now. So Good thing they got that sorted out and were able to keep pointing in the right direction.
Absolutely. You know, the two yellow cars right there have been fighting each other all night, Judson Curtis and Gary Bergeron. But now you've got Brandon Hinton up in the mix, and I mean, he is a very lethal driver. He can make some of the weirdest lines work.
Albert has caught Crosby, is looking to his outside, is going to make the pass. He's going to try and make the pass. For some reason, he wasn't able to right then and there. But I think on exit, he's going to get John Crosby. And he does. He takes the position. But he's got to battle him off now. And he's able to. Albert Williams back to the point.
Absolutely. You know, and this right here, this finish, the 1-2 finish, could be the one thing. And I don't want to say it because I really like Christian, but with these, if these two finish 1-2, that could be the one thing that pushes both of them up and pushes Christian Clark out.
Yeah, that's the last thing Christian Clark wants to see. He tried his hardest tonight, but just was a magnet for bad luck. I mean, no matter what he did, there was just something coming in contact with him. So, you know, hopefully now he's, you know, sitting here watching the race, hoping, got calm, cool, collect. And Crosby staying low on the front straightaway, he might be out of gas. He's not quite yet, but he's getting close.
Is he going to have enough fuel to make it to like the last 5 laps? You know, yeah, he's shutting that thing down. He's clutching it all the way down.
I don't even think he's using brake. He's just using the engine itself to slow this thing down. And look at him get all the way down to the apron, trying to save every drop of fuel he can. 2 seconds to Gary Bergeron, who's in the P3 position. Oh, drifting up like that is not what he wants to do. That puts him at a longer route around the track.
Yeah, but if you listen to the sound of the engine, though, when he's drifting up with that engine still clutched out.
That is true. Now he's got 1 second to Gary.
Four laps to go, and the intensity of the moment is starting to build. Albert Williams out in front, way out in front. Number 2 is John Crosby, but he's got Gary Bergeron right on his tail.
Yeah, he's under threat of dropping lower down now. Gary goes to his outside. He's going to be trying all the way up there, but he's not going to quite get there yet. 3 laps to go when he come by this time. Can he hold on for P2 for 3 more laps? This is a very extended fuel run. Remember, before, nobody could go past 31 laps. He's at 35.
I think it's actually 36 across the line that time, wasn't it?
Possibly. He's 35, 36. 35. So let's see what he can do. Gary goes to that outside. Gary's still not able to make the pass. 2 laps to go. Gary now to the outside. Gary's going to carry his momentum and his fresher fuel, and he's going to try and battle him off the corner and take that position. As of right now, he's in front of him.
Yep, Gary Bergeron moving into second. And now you got Brandon Hinton that's going to look to try to make the pass on John Crosby as well and put himself into third place.
Man, this is a stretch and a half on the fuel run. White flag lap out for Albert Williams. Gary in P2. John Crosby trying to hold on to that P3 position. And he just said it. He's out.
Yeah, right as Brandon Hinton comes below him, he has run out of fuel on the final lap.
That was a tough fight. Made it all the way there, but he's in P5. But Todd Perron is going to get to him and take another position, and he's just going to be dropping down as he cruises. But Albert Williams comes across to take the win here at Auto Club, leading 78 laps of the race.
What a performance by Albert Williams, coming all the way from P14, four drivers below the cut line, and that win very well is going to seal him that 10th place spot.
And John Crosby isn't going to make it back. He has gone all the way down. He is at P11 now, dropping even further.
You know, you had to give him kudos, though. He knew what was at stake, and he tried to make it work.
He fought for every inch he could. That was a crazy race for him on that.
All right, so we're going to bring in our third place finisher, Brandon Hinton. Good evening, Brandon. How you feeling after that third place finish there?
That was a lot of fun. This car and the track, that was a whole lot of fun. Racing and trying to catch those guys at the end there. But that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Hinton, you stuck to your guns, ran that low line. How are you looking at on fuel or whenever you hit your 31st lap? Like when you guys made your first green flag pit stop, where were you at?
Yeah, it was basically we were gonna have a 2-stop, I believe, if it would have stayed green. But then with all the cautions, it kind of threw everything in a flux. So I split that last stage that way I could get 4 tires and just went on offense.
Yeah, it looked like you had some interesting fights out there, especially with Judson Curtis, where you guys about ran into each other. What happened there?
Yeah, so I was around the bottom, and of course, he wasn't going to give an inch, and I don't blame him. Like, we're fighting for position, and I told him on the radio it was my fault. You just get so tight when you got to come up off the bottom, and I just got into him a little bit. Nothing major, but I wanted him to know that it wasn't on purpose or anything. But it was a hell of a battle with him. It's always fun running with him, and it's going to be clean and. So that was a fun battle.
Well, Brandon, I just want to say, unofficially, you are currently sitting in first place in the point standings for Gen4, but I got to give mad kudos to Hinton Motorsports. You've got 3 guys headed to the playoffs next weekend for Gen4, and you guys have just had a heck of a season, both in Gen4 and in Legacy Trucks. So congratulations on the third place finish tonight, man.
Thanks. And yeah, it's a testament to the team and all the hard work that we're putting in, and the results are paying off. So that's awesome that we all got into the playoffs.
Well, congratulations, Hinton, on the P2 finish. I apologize. And now we're going to get our P3 finisher here with Gary. We're going to nab him in here, or he's P2 finisher. I'm all confused with my numbers. Gary, congratulations on the P2 position, man.
Yeah, feels good.
To come back and finish P2 after 2 weeks off of racing, man, it looked like you had to fight out there. How was the race?
Just I love this track. It's too bad that NASCAR destroyed it. It's a great track. I had nothing to go get Albert. He was somewhere else. But in my case, second place. I'm very glad, and especially having Brandon behind me as ex-champion of this series. So it's a good race.
Well, you definitely put down a heck of a run tonight, Gary. Congratulations on the finish there in P2, man. That battle that you had going with Judson Curtis all night, you know, what was going on there? I mean, y'all were like just all over each other, and both of y'all running them yellow cars. I mean, it was hard to keep track of it, but you know, congratulations, man.
Oh, we had a great time with Curtis. Wow, I'm telling you, we had a good side-by-side racing, and we never touched once. I got a 0 incident for tonight on my race car, so and I'm looking him too, also 0. So we had a good race tonight, both of us. Too bad I didn't get into it with Brandon a bit more, but he was a little far from us.
Well, Gary, with that, I mean, you were already locked into the playoffs here. I know you gave props to Brandon Hinton on being a previous champion in DES, but now you get to go for your chance to potentially win a championship here in DES. How do you think your odds are?
Actually, I don't know how the points are going right now. I'm trying to find it out on the Discord. I don't see it on the Discord, and that if somebody could send it to me, and that would appreciate it, that's for sure. I don't know where I am at all.
Oh, you're third in points, sir, locked in. Or technically
Oh,
second in points locked in. And you are the second seed for our playoff race right behind Brandon Hinton.
oh, okay. And I went and reserved some tickets in 2 weeks go see a show, so I wasn't planning. I didn't know I was this high in the points. But that'll be my drop race, that one then.
Sounds good, Gary. We can't wait to see you battle for it. Congrats on the P2 finish.
Well, thank you very much, guys, and we appreciate you for announcing the race and all that.
And that was Gary Bergeron, the number 2 finisher. And now we're going to get Albert Williams, your winner of the final race of the Gen4 season. Albert, congratulations, man. You were just in another world with everybody else fighting behind you. How did that make you feel tonight?
Yeah, we definitely had some pace from the get-go, and just was trying to manage it. And honestly, just really interesting seeing how all the different strategies played out. I thought I was in a bad spot with the guys who pitted at the lap 4 caution. Some of those guys were on track to just make one stop and make it to the end, and I would have had to done a splash and go. And I got very lucky with a caution at lap 50, right as I was coming to pit road. So that kind of just saved the race the rest of the way and made it a simple kind of split it in half. But yeah, it was definitely fun. I really love this racetrack, and I've always had very good pace here. So it was just fun to race with everybody, and then just to see all the strategies that played out.
Man, I have to say, you were practically in another zip code that whole race. But there was the point towards the end where Crosby and Thomas Long were kind of out there on a longer stretch than you, and we're doing fuel saving. What was going through your mind trying to catch up to those guys and what they were doing?
Yeah, the mindset after pitting was go. I came out, I was debating taking tires. I was like, well, I got to give myself at least a better chance to catch them just in case they do make it, because I had no idea if they could. In my mind, I was like, there's no way. They would have to save at least 5 laps of gas, and Crosby almost did it. He just a 3/4 of a lap short. But yeah, after that pit stop, it was just go and put the fastest laps possible that I could to just give myself a chance to catch him before the end.
You absolutely were able to do that. And unofficially, that win tonight very well could move you above the cut line and put you in the playoffs for Gen 4. So congratulations on that as well.
Yeah, appreciate it. Looking at the cut line and all the circumstances, I was unsure about everything, but all in all, I just like to come and race Friday nights, have fun, and just compete really. But if it gets me into the playoffs, cool. If not, then even in the playoffs, I'm still gonna run hard, run good, and make the playoff guys fight for wins.
Well, congratulations, Albert, on your race win here at Auto Club. You deserved it. You put on a heck of a show. Well done, sir.
Appreciate you.
Well, Jonathan, with that, we wrap up our regular season for at least the Gen 4 today with a guy who's potentially into the playoffs. He was 40 points behind with a 0.5% probability of getting in. So it's going to be an interesting turn of events once we factor in the points. We'll come back next week for the first race of the playoffs and get to talk about that group of 10. You excited about it, Jonathan?
Oh, absolutely. I could not be more excited about it. And then tomorrow night, we've got Legacy and Premier trucks. And then, of course, Sunday, we've got the Next Gens as well that'll be winding up their seasons.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in and watching this race. Thank you, Damon, for broadcasting. Jonathan, thank you for assisting me here in the booth. We will catch you tomorrow for the first race of Legacy Trucks at Pocono. See ya.